folks, what's here? Welcome back to another Poem Master video. And as usual, before we get into today's stuff, let's go ahead and get our daily summons. And also, if you guys haven't subscribed already to the channel, feel free to do so. So, like, enjoy this video. And we got nothing here. Rip. But hey, we got 3 tries every day on this one, so there's that, I guess. Slightly pricey, but hey, it's still like 100, you know, per summon. And we get like 4-star power-ups. And there we go, we got a 4-star power-up at least, so I'll take that, It's basically like getting a 4-star power-up from like a, you know, single daily. There we go. There's that, and we're Steven Banner. Steven Banner. Here we go. Alright. The increased rates. Give us Mina again. Did I do like the daily 10s yet? I haven't gotten anything from the daily 10s in like a while. Like anything significant, right? Alright. There we go. And wow. All but 2 are bronze. So anyways, today we're going to talk about the Cobalion Legendary Arena, which is dropping later today. And just kind of sort of, you know, brainstorm some potential teams and stuff that you could use that you should probably, if you haven't already either gridded or trained up yet, you should probably, you know, spend some time investing, leveling them up, all that stuff, right? So anyways, let's first check out Cobalion. Also, when's the Dokkan anniversary? It should be like tomorrow or something, right? Anyways, that's a side note, but for the Cobalion event, again, this thanks to Absolutely for providing us with this info. So we don't know that much about it, but we do know, I think, enough to generally have an idea of how the event's going to go, right? So there's a few things to keep in mind. It's weak to fire, right? Limited 30 sync pairs, and the boss hint for it is to apply multiple status conditions and block incoming physical attacks. The opponent will take less damage when it is not affected by a status condition. So if you're sleeping it, if you're burning it or whatever, it will take more damage, right? When an opponent recovers from a status condition, its resistance to it increases. So it's the same as like the NTA thing with like flinch, except this is what the status is, right? Watch out for physical attacks, focus on sleep, and burn, which makes a lot of sense, right? So, oh, by the way, if you guys want to check out the rewards, there's rewards here as well. 2,000 co-op sync orbs for that. They're in gems, and then all 4 of these medals and all that stuff. And there's some other stuff, power-ups, 4-star power-up, and 5-star power-ups, and some gems, and yeah, other stuff, more gems. So yeah, let's go into some units that would potentially be helpful. So let's first go over, what even is that? I don't even know what that is. Let's go over, well, I know what a WeChat is, but yeah, let's go over some units that would be potentially helpful. So first of all, they did mention it's weak to fire, right? So let's check out some fire units. There are a decent amount of fire type units in the game, right? As you can see, we almost have like a full page of fire units. Most of them are fine in this event, at least for strikers, right? Just talk about strikers. I think all the fire type strikers would be usable in this, even Ethan, which again, Ethan is by far the weakest one here. In terms of, again, strikers, right? But it should still do fine, especially if you're running sleep with it, right? Because, you know, if you're sleeping the opponent, they're not going to do damage to you. And, like, Ethan, like, we meme on Ethan a lot, but Eruption does good damage. It's just that once Ethan gets touched, Eruption doesn't do good damage anymore. But yeah, aside from Ethan, everyone else should do decent, except for Charizard, Infernape, and Hilda. Oh, now that I think about it, we actually do have a full page of at least not fire types, but units that use fire type moves, because they're split in there as well. Because I didn't pick up Exard, so Exard would be another one, right, to fill it up. But anyways, off topic. But let's get back to this. But yeah, these 3 units might have like slight issues if you're using their physical moves, right? Because they did say that they are, you know, they have high resistance against physical moves, which again these 3 are. So there's that, but oh, also Ho as well, right? But if you use their, you know, special versions of their moves, or the Heat Wave, Blast Burn, like no one uses Flare Blitz Charizard anyway, it's so bad. You know, Fire Blast on Infernape, although Fire Punch Infernape is actually pretty viable. But that aside, or Sacred Fire Ho. Although Sacred Fire, you probably would want to use it to try to get the opponent burned at least if you're trying to run that. But yeah, overheat, whatever, that should be fine. As for the others, obviously, like, Torkoal's gonna be huge here. Serena's gonna be huge. These two are probably gonna be like the main focuses. If you have Serena, this event's basically GG, right? You could probably just like beat the thing, you know, easily with like 3 units with Serena, right? Because Serena has sleep, and Serena, if you have Serena 3 out of 5, right? Without 3 out of 5, doesn't hit that hard, but at 3 out of 5, Serena hits like a truck, right? Should again be the highest damage per move in the game, and again, sleep just destroys Cobalion, because Cobalion will take more damage when it is put to sleep. So that definitely helps. Also got Fire Spin as well with trap damage. Obviously, it doesn't take trap damage when it's asleep, but it's mainly for you know, if you have stationary target 5 on the grid, and it especially works well on stuff like the Legendary Arena, because you know, stuff like trap, they last obviously much longer. The opponent lasts much longer, so you know, going trap then stationary target 5 makes much more sense than using it on something that's, you know, much easier to beat, like the full force battle in comparison, right? So Serena's obviously going to be fantastic here. Torkoal is going to be great as well, because Torkoal, you have Will-O-Wisp, and Torkoal again also hits like a truck, and Torkoal also has good physical defenses, which Cobalion is a physical striker for the most part. So that means, you know, Cobalion's going to do decent amounts of physical damage, and Torkoal again does have good defenses. Plus it also has too hot to handle, which sharply raises your defenses as well, and also hits very, very hard with Impervious, so your stats won't get lowered if it like rock smashes you or whatever. Wait, did Absol mention Cobalion's moves? Because I do know the Cobalion's moves got Datamined. Which, by the way, if you guys were worrying about Rock Slide, Aggravation 10, or was it 9 or something, don't worry, Cobalion actually doesn't have it. It's probably for some other unit then, that they added to the thing, right? So Cobalion moves aren't like that big of a deal. Like, it does have Stone Edge, which could be problematic, right? Because Stone Edge obviously does have the increased chance to crit, and crits hurt a lot in this game, which is why, you know, now that we're talking about some other stuff, right? In terms of tanks, which is why Steelix could be a very, very good option, right? How can I clear? Oh, there we go. Yeah, Steelix could be a very, very good option here, just because Steelix not only has Clang, which protects your whole team from crits, and also has X defense all, plus has like monster defenses. Obviously, it'd be really, really nice to run Steelix and a Sand team in. Obviously, you do not need to use fire types to beat it. Like, remember, the NT event, you know, you didn't need to use fire type units to beat it. Water types obviously help, but you know, you could beat it with other, like, you could beat it with Garchomp, right? Well, I mean, you could beat anything with a Garchomp team. But yeah, you could throw that in there with a Garchomp Sand team, with Soothing Sand and all that stuff, X defense, all Clang. It's gonna do really well here. Another unit that's going to do pretty well as a tank would be Torterra, right? Because Torterra, not only do you have that, you also have Power Siphon 9, which lowers the opponent's attack stat every time it attacks, and then so there's that as well. So you got X defense all, then you got heal, or I guess full restore here. So also there's that, and you have vigilance on yourself. So Torterra, Steelix, these two are going to be fantastic for tanks. In general, alright? Let me see, what other tanks? Skyla would be slightly problematic, just because it's weak to rock, right? So do keep that in mind. Although, you know, you don't have to put Skyla as a tank, you just bring Skyla as a side and do, you know, Skyla things, right? Increase your whole team's defense. Because its sync move is not rock type, right? So when it hits you with an AoE sync move, you don't have to worry about that. And obviously potions there, right? As for some other tanks, Rotom obviously can tank as well. I don't think it's going to be as good as Torterra or Steelix or Torkoal, right? Another option you could go for is not as a tank, but Sabrina does have Reflect, so you obviously don't take that much damage. Like, if you bring Torkoal and Sabrina, like if you like tank with Torkoal and then have Sabrina set up Reflect and burn the opponent with Will-O-Wisp, you will not be taking too much damage. So that'll be very, very nice. For once, so there's that. Yeah, as for some other stuff, interesting. Let's see if there's any like useful like 4-star, 3 stars. Not really, I guess. A lot of people were thinking, oh, maybe bring Nose Pass for like Rock Slide, but again, obviously not everything is 100% confirmed in Datamined, but it seems like it's not going to have Rock Slide, so we don't have to worry about wide guarding with Probopass. But it does. But if it does have any like, you know, tough to deal with AOE moves, obviously you could still use, you know, Roxanne and Nose Pass for that. Obviously Salamence is always useful for the defensive buffs and stuff. So there's that as well. I'm not sure if anyone else over there is that useful, unfortunately. As for some tech units, Kukui will not be as useful here, but like if you are out of options, if you don't have that many great special strikers, you're only, you know, you just have a handful of really good physical strikers, Kukui could obviously help, right? Still, so there's like we'll just have to see like how much their damage reduction is going to be on their side before we actually go in, right? Because like again, it does have physical damage reduction, so stuff like Steven Metagross, Garchomp's Anthea won't hit as hard, but it's still, I wouldn't expect it to be like completely immune to physical damage, right? So it's gonna still do some stuff. Again, we just have to see like how much the physical, and if it's like just like a shield, if it's just a physical shield, then it's not a big deal, right? So there's that. Again, you could use Kukui and stuff, Nanu, to you know, lower their defenses. Obviously, Ace Roll is still going to be very, very useful. You know, Astonish with Aggravation on the grid is just way too powerful for these events, right? Milotic could be a decent tank as well, with its healthy healing, all that stuff, and like everything else it does. Plus, you know, trap damage with Whirlpool. You know, Poketrap 5, Recuperation. You know, Wallace is always a fantastic tank, regardless. They do have Piercing Gaze, so I don't think Grimsley is going to be a good idea for a tank, personally. Helios is always going to be useful, except for, you know, I don't think Mudslap's going to be that big of a deal, just because, again, it will have Piercing Gaze later on. But, you know, stuff like Electro Web plus Parabolic Charge would still make it useful. It's just not as much, right? Mew's always fine as a tank. It's going to get hit pretty hard by, like, super effective moves, though, so there's that, I guess. And also, both the same thing with Mew and Rotom is that, again, in later stages will have Piercing Gaze, so your dodge won't do much. So also do keep that in mind. So yeah, I think that's most of the tech units, right? As for anything else, I guess Brock wouldn't be too bad if you're just like completely just out of tanks, right? Brock with, again, good defenses, Potion, and then Rock Hard Determination, which does sharply raise your defenses, would be a good option as well, with Stoic too, as well, right? And then you also have Rock Throw, 1-gauge spam. Onyx actually won't be that bad, so slightly underrated there. Vileplume wouldn't be that good, I don't think. It shouldn't be like that bad either, since you do have like Stun Spore with it as well. So that's gonna, you know what, I take that back. Vileplume's not that bad, since you could Stun Spore the opponent and then drastically reduce defense. It's just that like their base defense isn't the greatest, unfortunately. As for some other stuff, Crasher Wake, Float Soul, same thing, right? Flinch is always good. And then the two big ones, Agatha, Gengar, Ramos, and Victory Bell, these are going to be huge. Or the Egg Bellsprout, right, if you want to use that as well. Just because of, again, Sleep Powder. Sleep is just so powerful, or going to be just incredibly powerful in that stage, right? And it's going to be like as good as Serena's Sleep, honestly. It's just that Serena just does so much more damage, and Serena raises her own accuracy, and Serena stat leeches, and Serena's like a billion other stuff. But, you know, aside from that, again, you're only sleeping that one target, so you can still use Ramos and Gengar if you want to get them, you know, actually buffs or whatever. That could definitely help. Obviously, the other big one over here is Rapidash for setting up Sun. Obviously, Rapidash, you could also use Ho as well. Again, depending on what comp you're trying to run, you know, you would want one or the other. Again, if you're running fire type units at all. So there's also that. As for anyone else here, I don't think anyone else here is really that relevant. We talked about Nanu, I guess. Masquerain, probably not, honestly. So yeah, I guess those are just like the main, like, more useful units that you could use here. Again, obviously fire types would be fine. Like, if you really don't have anything, just pick up the Infernape. There's like a 4-star there's the 4-star move candy that's you can exchange right now with a, I think it's a steel type training event, right? Is it steel type training event with the 4-star candy? Oh, never mind, I exchanged it. But yeah, there's that as well. So if you don't have Infernape at 2 out of 5 or 3 out of 5, you could go pick that up. And there's also this as well, fire type training event. If you just really don't have anything else, obviously Torkoal is going to be fantastic. But Torkoal, since it's a 1-gauge spammer, you could run it alongside Infernape, right? So you could run both at the same time, and that would be fine. If you want to go for like a free-to-play team, something like a Silver Infernape Torkoal would be pretty good. Right, so there's that as well, I guess. But yeah, those are just the main ones I wanted to go over in terms of units that would be potentially useful, and you should probably start working on if you haven't leveled them up or whatever for tonight's Cobalion event, which I will be uploading as soon as I get that done. So anyways, yeah, that's it for this one. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys think in the comments down below. Like and enjoy this video, subscribe to the channel for some more Pokemon Masters content, and I'll see you guys later tonight in the Cobalion event.